maybe it's taking you longer to figure out what you want to do, and that is okay. And this is something that I've struggled with for a long time because I largely have rejected a traditional path. To choose a story that actually empowers you right where you are right now. And welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first ever video here on YouTube. This video is all about reminders for when you feel behind in life. And this is a very common thing, I think, when you're in your 20s, maybe even 30s, if you haven't checked off the boxes that society often tells us we need to check off in order to be successful. And this is something that I've struggled with for a long time because I largely have rejected a traditional path. The traditional path I generally see as graduating from high school and then going to college and then finding a partner and getting married and buying a house. Just this trajectory of events is something that is just kind of expected from people, whether it's said explicitly or just from what we observe from the people around us in the way that most people do things. A lot of people now are rejecting this idea of taking a traditional path and are wanting to do other things like start businesses or travel. Maybe it's taking you longer to figure out what you want to do, and that is okay. And so today I'm here with a few reminders to help you stay grounded when you feel like you're behind in life, and just to reassure you that you're actually in the perfect spot and exactly where you need to be. So the reminder number one is to realize that you are the architect of your story. You basically create the story that you live by in your life. And what I mean by that is whatever story you create for yourself is the story that is true for you. Whatever story you believe will become true for you. So if you believe that you are behind in life and that there's something you should be doing in life, there's somewhere you should be that you're not right now, then that will be your reality. You will always feel like you're behind, and it's likely you will feel this way even if you start to catch up to where you think you need to be. So maybe instead of believing you're behind in life, choose to see it in a different way. Maybe thinking about how everything happens for a reason and you are learning all of the lessons that you need to be learning and you are exactly where you need to be. This is really powerful to recognize because when we realize this, we realize that we can actually create our own story, our own narrative, and create our life to be whatever we want it to be. So I want to empower you to choose a story that actually empowers you right where you are right now. For me, I've struggled largely with feeling behind in life because I've always had a dream of being an entrepreneur, have never wanted to settle into a 9-to-5, and have always wanted to travel. So over the past 6 months, I've been traveling around the world, all throughout Europe and New Zealand, and it's been amazing. But now I'm back home and I am looking for a full-time job while I work on continuing to start up my businesses that I've been working on for a few years now, and I can't help but feel like I'm behind in life because when I'm looking for jobs, I'm realizing that there are a lot of people my age who already have full-time careers. And I've tried kind of and failed to start 2 businesses. And for a long time, I felt a lot of shame about that. Like I should be farther, I should be more successful. But the story that I'm crafting for myself is that failure is a part of the game, especially when you want to be an entrepreneur. And it's okay to fail. And every time I fail, I'm not actually failing because I tried and I showed up, and that's not failing. And every failure leads to a lesson. So I can always take something from every experience that doesn't work out. Number 2 is kind of a double part reminder. And this is to find joy in this moment right here and to redefine your definition of success. We always look to some form of success as like something that we will reach later. We have this idea of what will make us successful, and a lot of times that's getting a good job, having a nice house, and all of these things. And we look to these material things and this destination that we need to get to in order to be happy. However, we generally will carry whatever we're feeling now into the success that we will get later. That success that we put on a pedestal often doesn't really feel as good as we think it is when we get there, because oftentimes these material desires are rooted in what we think we need to have. Not that it's not bad to, or not that it's not okay to want those things. That's totally fine. But we want to make sure it's from a grounded place and from realizing that getting to that place won't ultimately make us happy. It's our job to find happiness right now. So I like to reflect on this quote by Jim Carrey, and it says, "I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything that they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer." And the thing that he's talking about here is basically that we often have this idealized version of success, and many of us, when we actually get there, realize that we're not actually happy when we got there, and we are relying on this successful pinpoint in our life to make us happy. And so the key to really having success and happiness in our life is to really figure out what we want, what we really are desiring. So oftentimes we're thinking that all of these things will make us happy, and that's all we want. We want happiness, we want joy, oftentimes we want security. And we need to figure out how to cultivate those things right now while continuing to work towards our goals, so that when we really have all of that stuff, we already feel happy, we already feel successful, and that will just add to that feeling. This is just a reminder to practice feeling happy and finding joy right now. Number 3 is to remember that you have a long life to live and a lot of time in your life to accomplish these goals and dreams. Obviously, we never know what's going to happen in life, but that's just something that we can never control. And it's likely that you have some or a lot of years left. So with the previous reminder, just find joy in this moment and then remember that you have time. So it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to slow down a little bit to enjoy this moment. And one thing that often helps me to put this into perspective is to imagine what my 80-year-old self, looking back on my life, what advice she would give me, how she would feel about where I am right now and what she would tell me. And oftentimes I look to my 80-year-old self and she reminds me that there's no rush, that I'm living life right now, that I can enjoy life right now, that it's okay and it's safe to slow down, and that there is no behind in life. We spend a lot of our lives just rushing to success, rushing to the next thing, and my 80-year-old self is just very aware that that's really not how I would have wanted to live my life. I would have wanted to live my life slowly and intentionally, and while still moving towards my goals, I would have wanted to just enjoy the life right now. So I'm in different clothes for this tip because I was editing the video and realized that I forgot this tip, and this is a really important one that has really helped me over the years. Look to people or famous people or people who have found great success later in life or after failing and getting rejected over and over and over again. And here are just a few examples. Steve Carell did not become famous until he got his big role in The Office at age 43. Harrison Ford didn't truly start making it until he was age 35, and he landed his role in Star Wars. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was not successful until she published her first Harry Potter book at age 32. And Oprah Winfrey was actually fired from her first TV anchor job, and now we all know where Oprah Winfrey is in life. There are so many examples of people that have failed over and over and over again, or didn't even know what they wanted to do in life until later, and didn't find their purpose until later in life, and examples of people who have reiterated their purpose over and over and over again. I think we have, as a society, this obsession with knowing what we want to do and figuring it out at a young age, when honestly we're all making it up. Another thing that really helped me to listen to, and if you're an entrepreneur this is really helpful, is the How I Built This podcast with Guy Raz. And this is just a podcast where Guy meets with a bunch of entrepreneurs who are owners or CEOs or founders of really big companies. And he talks to them about how they started their company and how they got to where they are. And 99% of the time, there's stories of these entrepreneurs failing for years and years and years, or getting rejected for years and years and years and years. And the one thing that carried them through was their own self-belief, their own determination, their own perseverance, and just willingness to hold on to the vision that they have for themselves. If none of these resonate for you, do some research and find people who are doing what you want to do and look at their story. Maybe figure out the people who have failed on their way to getting to where they're going, or just find examples that resonate with you of people who maybe were exactly where you are right now, like maybe doubting their purpose, not knowing where they're going, or failing, but eventually made it to where they want to go. Just seeing yourself in these people who have found success maybe later in life, or have struggled with what you've struggled with, just as someone you can relate to see, to believe that your success is possible, is just so amazing for expanding your mind. That is all the reminders I have for you. There are so many more things I could say, but if you have any good reminders or tips that you have as well for people who may feel behind in life, or things that have helped you, please let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe below to see more videos like this in the future. And thank you so much for tuning in.